So about 12 years ago, a group of scientists and a filmmaker got together to ask a question: can adaptive multipaddock grazing create soil health and give farmers wealth? Comparing adaptive multipaddock grazing, which is what not too many people are doing, to conventional grazing, which is what most people are doing. And so conventional grazing is where you let the cattle just graze forever, all the time, overgrazing, and you let them roam everywhere they want to go. Adaptive multipaddock grazing is where you move the animals frequently. It's a heavy hit with their hooves, their manure, their urine, and then they move on, and most of the land rests most of the time, whereas in the other system, the land doesn't rest at all. In the research that we were doing, we were studying bugs and birds and microbes. We were studying the greenhouse gas cycling, how the ranchers and farmers doing, how the animals are doing, and the water infiltration, soil carbon, soil nitrogen. And we did all this work in the southeast US. So it's pairs. On one side of the fence is the adaptive farmer, and on the other side of the fence is the conventional. And if you look down there in Woodville, Mississippi in the south, you've got Cooper and Katie Hurst. They're on the adaptive side, and you've got the Fergusons, you've got Wallace, Prentice, and Margot on the conventional side. And part of this research is the documentary itself that we made. So here I'm asking Margot, does she see a difference on either side of the fence?
It'll be 3 or 4 feet tall. Now, in our pasture, the grass is not that tall.
I'm always watching. You know, I cheat, I look, see what's going on.
So Wallace and Cooper are neighbors. For 25 years they've been friends, and they have never talked about grazing. So I asked them if they wouldn't mind talking about grazing. It was a 3-hour conversation. At this point, Wallace is trying to get into his head that he doesn't have to have a bag for fertilizer. He can use the animals' butts for fertilizer. It's not making sense for him.
Like what he's saying right there, that's not the way you work.
No, but I understand it. But the thing is, I'm just saying, that grass is gonna grow when you put fertilizer on it. Without putting fertilizer on it, you think I'm wasting my time even planting it. Yeah.
But I'm telling you, your dad would eat it up. He loves the land, he loves the farm, he loves his cattle.
But you know, if you're not spending money wastefully.
And that's where we are. We are not into wasting money.
So one of the things that I learned on this project was how important the bobwhite quail was to the farmers in this community. So now you're going to get to meet one of our science team members, Mike McGraw, and we're going to talk about the bobwhites.
Yes, bobwhite. Bobwhite.
I do know this, Peter. When I was younger, they had quail everywhere. They're not there anymore.
So have you heard bobwhites while we've been here?
Yeah, I have.
This year, we're hearing quail from daylight to dark, from front to back, and everywhere in between. It really makes you think. It makes you think.
So when I came back a year later, I thought for sure Wallace will have talked to Cooper. He's going to change the way he's grazing. He's going to get his quail. He's going to save his dad money on fertilizer. They hadn't talked at all. So I realized this is going to be a little bit more difficult than I thought. A few years after that, we brought out the data to all 10 families. So we do have 13 papers published. Some of the data is pre-published, but most of what I'm going to share with you is published. So on the soil carbon, we matched the soil types really, really well. And so we tried to make it as apples to apples as possible, where the management was the only difference. And on the adaptive side, they had about 13% more carbon in their soil, down to a meter. A lot of people ask, how long does carbon stay in the soil? It can be days where it's cycling in and out of the system quite quickly. And then if the carbon's part of the root system, it'll take decades to decompose, so that decades can give us a leg up on a lot of the issues we're fighting right now. And then centuries. The microbes themselves are made of carbon, and so when they die, they become part of the soil, and on a healthy soil system, half of that soil is dead microbes. It's called necromass. And then on the nitrogen front, what you've got is the conventional farmers spend $10, $20, $30, $40, $100, $150,000 a year on nitrogen fertilizer. The adaptive farmers use their animals for the fertilizer, yet, even though they're not spending money, the adaptive farmers have a lot more usable nitrogen in their soil. And then on water, 2 inches more per hour is absorbing into the soil on the adaptive side over the conventional side. So 2 inches an hour. You might think, well, we don't get that much rain, but we're getting that much rain now. We're getting big, big rain events. And so 2 inches, if you have a 1,000-acre farm, which a lot of these folks do, that's 54 million gallons of water that one side of the fence is getting and the other side is not. And then when we look at the insects, so the significance of this is to have a diverse insect community means you don't have spikes of pests. They're all keeping each other in check, and they're actually all doing things very functionally. So the system is working really well to prevent pathogens in the plants. It's cycling the carbon. It's making the system work properly. And then who's eating all those insects are the birds. So here on the grassland birds, you can see there's a hell of a lot more grassland birds on the AMP side of the fence than the conventional. Birds go where they want. And then in Kentucky, it's even a starker piece of information. And so now I'm going to show you what the Kentucky farmer on the conventional side, Marie, what she was thinking.
That broke my heart. So I want it to be healthy, you know. That's our job, is to take care of it.
So we're also looking at the greenhouse gas cycling. So not just the soil cores, but the temporal greenhouse gases coming in and out. So CO2, carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, they're all warming gases. But what's happening, these farms are doing so much. They're doing so much to draw down carbon because they're growing so much forage that they're drawing down so much CO2, it eclipses the warming of the methane and the nitrous oxide. So much so that actually both sides of the fence are sinks, but the adaptive side is a massive sink. That's 12.1 tons of CO2 equivalent per hectare per year for a profit. So it's a very, very big number. So after I gave all this data to everybody, all the families, I came back and I asked Prentice what was going on.
What thoughts are you having about what you've been presented?
It's showing things that I've been doing wrong for a long time. What we're supposed to do now? How do we get the carbon back? How do we do this?
So the way you get the carbon back, according to our research in the southeast U.S., is you adopt a new way of grazing your cattle. Alan Williams, member of our team, a farmer, scientist, and great teacher of AMP grazing, we asked all the conventional farmers, would you like to meet Alan? Would you just like to talk to him? And 4 out of the 5 said yes. 2 out of those 4 not only said yes, but when they were meeting him, they decided they wanted to change that minute. So this last clip I'm going to show you is that happening.
So we'll go down here, we'll set up our polywire.
So Marie, is this the first time you've done AMP grazing?
Yeah.
Wallace, I guess we're ready if you want to let them in.
Okay.
They're coming through.
Oh, don't do that. Don't do that. That's what I was afraid of.
What's happening?
They're going back out. Let them go. Let them go. This is not going to work.
We're going to have to regroup.
We tried.
Yeah.
We tried.
2 hours after we had left Marie and Billy's farm, one of the cows made her way through the creek and to the pasture.
2 or 3 of them went, then they all just went. They're actually getting a field with a whole lot more stuff to eat and a whole lot more nutrients, you know. I don't even remember how you guys got our information to come up and check our farm, but I'm glad you did.
Like to this morning, I can tell you I'm gonna go get them all in there.
You're going to try it again right now?
Mm-hmm. If I'm not successful, okay, I at least tried it. That's the way I'm looking at it.
They're all in. This is Wallace Ferguson's first AMP paddock success.
That worked easy. That wasn't bad.
So, oh, thank you. It's fun to be able to amplify what these amazing scientists and farmers are doing. And one of our scientists, Janice Swanson out of Michigan State, what she told me towards the end of the project was that farming is an act of peace. And I just love that phrase. And I love farmers, and sometimes I love scientists, and this has been an amazing job, and right now it's time to scale it up. So thank you very much.